Okay, hello everyone. Clarke Towson here. I'm the CEO of INTJ Billing. Seems a really good time at the moment, considering everything that's going on within the crypto market, to go through my list of cryptocurrency consulting services. Now, I'm not doing this as an advertisement specifically for INTJ Billing. I'm doing this because I want to talk a little bit about the suite of services that I provide and that I was providing back in Melbourne, Australia, and then talk a little bit about what's been going on within the crypto industry and the the problems and the trouble that people who went and utilized some of these centralized custodians faced, right? So my services include education about Bitcoin, an introduction to Bitcoin and why it's so important, installation of Bitcoin wallets on your private and business mobile and computing devices, education about your Bitcoin wallet seed phrases and how to keep them secure, backup of your Bitcoin wallet's private keys to a USB stick, and education about keeping your Bitcoin private keys secure, hands-on guidance on buying your first Bitcoin, advice, assistance getting your personal business and or corporate credit cards set up so you can purchase Bitcoin using your credit cards. Now, I'm going to stop right there and just say, just within the first couple of services that I've been providing, right? Installation of Bitcoin wallets, okay, on people's phones, on their laptops, on their computers, on a hardware device like a Trezor or a Ledger, the placing their seed phrase onto metal, like the crypto steel capsule. If you notice that these services, these are personal services, one-on-one interactions that I'm having with people that I wasn't able to scale. Now, these services are very, very important in terms of what is good for the end user. Okay, what is good for the end user of Bitcoin is for the person who invests in Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin, store it securely, buy a dollar cost average into it over a long period of time, and make sure that they keep ownership of their keys. Well, it just seems, looking at the crypto industry and what's gone on with FTX, with Celsius, with all these other firms out there, these centralized custodians who, if you look at what people have been doing, people get into crypto, they see there's a lot of money to be potentially made. Instead of going and doing their education first and saying, hang on a second, this is about Bitcoin. This isn't about crypto. This isn't about altcoins. This isn't about centralized custodians. It isn't about any of that stuff. This is about the separation of money and state, which is just as important, if not more important, than when we look at history, when the printing press was invented, or when the separation of church and state occurred, right? No, 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 no. No, people on a whole haven't been into Bitcoin for those reasons, right? Which is a real shame because you've had one person out here, and there's other people like me as well who've been helping people to get into Bitcoin. But our voices are drowned out by by someone like Alex Brzezinski of Celsius or Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX, right? So it's instructive to go back over these services, right, that I've been providing, and to ask that question: why I set out to provide a cryptocurrency consulting service, a one-on-one service to help people, right? Obviously, consulting doesn't scale in the way that a centralized platform scales, right? It's just really instructive, right, to think that I set out to teach and to help people, and then I'm seeing all these actors in the space. Bankman-Fried was a crypto billionaire because he created a shitcoin casino and trading platform. just really makes you think, all right, maybe I wasn't spending my time effectively. What was I thinking trying to help people when I could have went over there and set up a shitcoin casino, right, and ripped people off? Just like it really makes me angry that the state of the industry at the moment, right, really makes me angry. Now, there's other services here about setting your retail or online business operations up so you can accept Bitcoin at your point of sale. Obviously, I work with BTC Pay Server. Pride of our Footscray Community Bar was the first business I set up with the BTC Pay Server. All the rest of the services that I provide. When I think about what I'm doing over here in Pattaya, Thailand, okay, I've had to make some compromises to what I'm doing with INTJ billing when dealing with the bar girls, with the sex workers, because the way I would really love to have done this, okay, which I know I just couldn't do it this way because there's a number of reasons why I couldn't do it this way, but what I really would have loved to have done is to come over here to Pattaya and to set up all the sex workers independently with Bitcoin. Say 500 of them in Soi 6 with their own Bitcoin wallet, where they've taken ownership of their own keys, where they've stored their keys on metal and they understand what's going on. That would have been the ideal situation. Of course, there wouldn't be any money in it for me doing it that way. So I've had to compromise and say, all right, I have to be the centralized custodian. I have to set up the Bitcoin hot wallet. So I have to take ownership of the sex workers' keys on my infrastructure. I'll just be a payments provider. And, for Western men who want to send support payments to Thai sex workers, that's what I can do. But I've had to compromise on what I really want to do in order to do that, because the original ethos of Bitcoin, and Andreas Antonopoulos, one of the really good people in the space, his philosophy, which is right, is not your keys, not your Bitcoin, right? You want to take ownership of your private keys and not let a third-party custodial service take ownership of your keys. Now, again, I've had to compromise what I'm doing in some ways because I am a centralized provider. I'm a centralized custodian. And what it's like, what is the lesser of two evils? All right, I could go to the bar girls and I tried it. A number of bar girls I went to over 5 years ago, and I set them up Bitcoin wallets, and I said, look, you got to take very, very good care of this seed phrase. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Well, no, they didn't understand. Okay, no, they didn't. So the way to do it over here is to be a centralized provider and to provide a one-on-one service where they all know my name, they know my face, they know my company name, they know that I do Bitcoin stuff, and they know that they can receive Thai baht from me if they receive Bitcoin from their clients, right? Yeah, it's just really got me to thinking with what's gone on with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and what happened with Celsius and Alex Mazinski and all these centralized services, right? None of them have really set out to help people. Now, they've set out to make a whole lot of money at the expense of people. Now, I think that you can do both. You can set out to help people and make a profit at the same time. And I think that's the way to go. So you set up a business to make profit. If you can help people along the way, that is great. I set out with the purpose of helping people from the beginning, which is why I set up a consultancy service first. But then what I saw was people were coming to me and wanting me to sell them Bitcoin for purposes like sending that Bitcoin overseas to people in the developing world. So it was a natural transition for me to say, okay, I need to add that as an additional service to my suite of services that I provide at INTJ Billing, right? It just seemed natural to me. Yeah, it's, my timing sucks if you think about it. I retired as a public servant 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, 18 months ago. Uh, Bitcoin was riding high at that point in time. Um, and I could have done a whole lot with my accumulated stash of Bitcoin over here in Pattaya. I could have started a big business here. Could have done a whole lot. Now, obviously, my portfolio is down significantly. I think everyone's portfolio, not just with Bitcoin, but with other assets as well, is down significantly. I think we're probably in a period of stagflation, where we've got falling asset prices and rising consumer prices, which is a bad situation to be in. And I've cautioned clients who have come to me who have wanted to buy Bitcoin all in one go. I've said, look, don't do this. Please don't do this. Dollar cost average into it and dollar cost average out of it. I haven't been able to get that through to people. It disappoints me, because they've come to me, they've purchased a consultation from me, I've advised them, and then they've gone and done something else. It just seems that there's a lot of stuff within the space that goes on, a lot of marketing from these bigger players, these big entities, and it's deceiving to the end consumer, and it's not good for the end consumer. And then you've got people out there who are trying to do the right thing and trying to help people and help people to do things the right way. But our voices are drowned out by the marketing out there. I mean, one need only look at the amount of marketing that Crypto.com does, or that Alex Mazinski did at Celsius, and how much money he attracted to his centralized service. Now, the centralized service that I've set up to pioneer over here, the Bitcoin Lightning Network with bar girls here in Thailand, I need to emphasize that I am using the Bitcoin rails, the Lightning Network rails, in order to get payments from Western men to Thai bar girls. I am not, my service is not set out to be a storage mechanism for those funds. So I'm not setting out to say, okay, the Thai bar girls that I represent, I'm not going to store your Bitcoin on my BTC Pay server, because that introduces additional risk, right? I much prefer the transfer goes through, it goes to my INTJ Billings BTC Pay server, and then I'll convert that to Thai baht for payment to the Thai bar girl in cash at any Western Union. I think that's a safer way to go about it. Obviously, there's hackers out there who are 24/7 trying to hack into centralized entities. I am a centralized entity that is just starting out. And yes, I'm offering a form of a custodianship service, in that I'm not storing users' funds, but I am storing their seed phrases, right? And anyone who's able to capture a user seed phrase has got their Bitcoin. Now, that won't be a huge risk for me, because, as I said, I'm paying out the money directly to the Thai bar girls as soon as the transfer occurs, or very quickly after the transfer occurs. I don't know, that's just a couple of thoughts today. Obviously, it's a rocky road within the cryptocurrency space at the moment. Just a reminder to everyone that a lot of the shenanigans and stuff that's gone on within the space, has been about things other than the value proposition of Bitcoin. The value proposition of Bitcoin is the separation of money and state. It is the permissionless nature of Bitcoin, that person A can send Bitcoin to person B without a centralized provider or middleman. It is about taking back control from other centralized parties, taking back control from the government and saying, well, no, you're not going to inflate me away. I'm going to take ownership and control of Bitcoin. I'm going to store it myself under my own custody. And then I've got a bearer asset that can be used by me whenever I want. So I've got complete power and control over my money. This is what all this stuff is about, These are the original ethos of Bitcoin. And there's people out there within the space, people like Eric Voorhees, who doesn't like KYC and everything that goes with it. I am the same, okay? Know your customer obligations. Obviously, I have to do them, or the government is going to try. I'm operating a service which will be it's regulated now, but it will be regulated even more in the future, and it's a necessary evil at this state of development of Bitcoin. And sure, we can have decentralized exchanges, but again, I keep thinking, all right, I've set out to set up Bitcoin wallets for bar girls. In November of 2022, where we currently are, we are not at a stage where a bar girl can set up her own Bitcoin wallet, can take control of her Bitcoin keys, can receive Bitcoin from clients, and instantly convert that to Thai baht herself. She cannot do that. Technology has not reached that point. Technology has reached that point for a centralized provider like INTJ Billing to be able to at huge personal, by going through and doing a huge amount of work, a whole lot of time and effort and skill, okay, that a centralized provider like INTJ Billing can provide that as a service to take all that complexity away from the Thai bar girl. But wouldn't it be great if we were in an era where the Thai bar girl could do all that herself, right? Where every single one of those sex workers in Soy 6 and every sex worker in Thailand had a Bitcoin hot wallet set up, 100% under her ownership and control. And as soon as a client sent her Bitcoin, bang, she's got it as Thai baht. That would be amazing, but we do not live in that world. We don't live in that world, and that world is a long way off, I think. So you have to have a third party, a centralized service, like what my company INTJ Billing is pioneering over here in Thailand. And it irks me that because I'm not an original gangster from Bitcoin. I got into the space just over 5 years ago, but I agree with all the ethos of Bitcoin, right? And the philosophy of Bitcoin about taking ownership and control of your keys. But I have to recognize we live in a world where the majority of people don't care about that sort of stuff. The majority of people, what they do care about is getting rich quick, gambling, speculating, signing up to centralized services and shitcoin casinos, leaving their money on those casinos against everything that I teach, right? It's against everything that I teach. People go and do these things. And even when I've got clients who have paid me, they've come to me and they've paid me my hourly fee, and they've said, Clarke, what do you think of this? And I've said, don't do that, and they go and do it anyway. It's part of the reason why I decided to expend more energy in setting up a payments company and doing the whole payments thing. That way, I don't have to go through constantly with consulting services where I feel that I've advised people and they haven't listened to me, and they've gone off and done something else, something that I would never have advised them to do. At least with providing a payment service, I can put my time and energy into that service, and I can have the service operating, and the people can be happy with that. The bar girls can be happy. I mean, they don't care about Bitcoin, how it works. They don't want to think too much. They want Thai baht. Here you go. Here's Thai baht. Client has sent you Bitcoin. Here's the Thai baht. That's what they care about. And I've got to recognize that, right? And recognize that when I'm speaking to the bar managers and owners as well. Most of them don't care about Bitcoin, haven't looked into Bitcoin. Many of them would be looking at the state of the crypto industry now, and it's made my job a whole lot more difficult. I'm not there to convince any of the bar owners and managers to invest in Bitcoin or to gamble with Bitcoin or speculate on what its value is now or in the future. I'm just there to say, okay, you can use this system, okay, because it's got an important property called neutrality, where money can be sent from person A to person B without going through a centralized provider. But I'm proposing to be a centralized provider and partner with you, the industry, and so that we can tap into some of that sponsorship money that is sent to you girls, because no other payment provider is going to give you a cut of the transactions. And we can use this as an uncensorable payment or a censorship resistant payment network as well. So yeah, it's a real shame what's gone on within the industry. In the past year, we've had a number of black swan events that have set the industry back years, I think, because this is about Bitcoin. It's not about crypto. It's not about all these altcoins and all these tokens and they all tend to zero against Bitcoin. You've seen the graph that I've presented that's on my website. You can listen to the OGs, the original gangsters in the space, and follow what they've done for years, which is buy Bitcoin, dollar cost average into it, hold it for the long term, take ownership of your keys, and ignore all this noise that's going on. You can do that, or you could sign up to FTX, or sign up to Celsius, and sign up to these centralized services, and buy Bitcoin there, or altcoins there, keep it on the exchange there, and see what's happened, right? Every single one of my clients that I provided consulting services to, I set them up with a Bitcoin hot wallet, and I set them up with, in some cases, with a hardware wallet, and in most cases with a crypto steel capsule. And they wrote down their seed phrase on metal and they stored it that way. None of them were impacted by, except one. One was impacted by what went on with Celsius, unfortunately, which was unfortunate, but it wasn't anything that to do with me. I provided this person with advice, and unfortunately, this person went off and invested some money with Celsius as well. And I'd warned against that on my website and on my Facebook. Unfortunately, you can't stop people from doing stuff like that, despite your best efforts. But yeah, it's just a real shame. I feel very sorry for the money this person lost, because it comes back to haunt me in some ways, because I know that I sat down with this person and set them up with Bitcoin, set them up with a hot wallet, got them a crypto steel capsule, went through all the process and everything with them. Sometimes I think you can't stop. You can only consult with people. You can only advise people to the best of your ability, right? So anyway, that's really all I wanted to discuss in this video. All this stuff that's going on within the industry, this too will pass. We'll get through this. We'll come out the other side better. And I'd just like to say to people, look, this is about Bitcoin. This is about uncensorable money. It's about taking control of your money, taking ownership of your money, having a bearer asset under your control and administration, keeping ownership of your keys, all that sort of stuff. It's about the original ethos of Bitcoin. It's not about the casinos that are being built out there and these so-called billionaires who are now bankrupt. And it's not about any of that stuff. Those people have made my job a whole lot more difficult. They really have. My timing sucks. If I could have gotten over here to Pattaya a year earlier, I would have been a lot better off just selling a portion of my Bitcoin and starting a bar or something like that. I would have been a whole lot better off. I couldn't get over here a year ago. I couldn't do that because of the pandemic. So it's a shame, but this is the situation as it stands. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing and continue building relationships with people in the bar and nightlife industry here in Pattaya, and continuing to offer services, my Bitcoin services, and continue with the innovation that I'm doing here on the Bitcoin Lightning Network for sex workers. All right, all the best, everyone. I'm Clarke Towson, CEO of INTJ Billing.